Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Friends who are blessed by God. In a world full of hustle and bustle, sometimes we forget that this life is not spared from the test. Disasters, excitement, and happiness all come and go. However, from every event that God shows His power, sometimes through tears, sometimes also through a miracle that is difficult to explain by human logic. The story that we will tell today is a true story ... about the greatness of God that is clear when the disaster occurs ... about a mosque that is a place of protection for hundreds of lives, even delivering thousands of non-Muslims in Myanmar to find the light of Islam. Myanmar, a country inhabited by various ethnicities and religions, a beautiful country, but keeps a long history full of examinations and conflicts, especially for Muslim minorities there. Right on a day that was never forgotten, the earth of Myanmar was rocked by a very powerful earthquake. The ground shook violently, the building collapsed, and screams of tears were heard from various directions. The strength of the earthquake was very large. Dozens of houses melted, schools are damaged. Even public facilities such as hospitals do not escape damage. However, in the middle of all that ... there is one building that remains sturdy, a mosque. The old mosque, which has only been used by the local Muslim community, whose numbers are not much. The mosque was the only building that was not seriously damaged, even though it was in the middle of the shock center when the earthquake occurred. Dozens or even hundreds of residents who lived around the mosque, both Muslims and non-Muslims, were running towards the mosque. They feel, for some reason, the place gives a sense of security. Most of them don't know much about Islam. Even some of them have never set foot into the mosque, but at that time, their instincts took them there. And sure enough, the mosque became a safe shelter. None of them inside the mosque suffered serious injuries. The mosque is like a fortress that God is guarding His own hands. After the situation began to calm down, local media and volunteers began to arrive. They were amazed. Why did the mosque not collapse, even though the building around it was destroyed? A local engineer said, "We cannot explain technically. The structure of the building is ordinary, but for some reason, this building remains intact, like there is a power that protects it." And the answer then spread ... that it is not just the strength of the building that guards the mosque, but the power of Allah subhanahu Washington Ta'ala. After that incident, many residents began to be curious. What exactly is the content of Islamic teachings? Why did the mosque, which they had considered strangers, actually became their rescue site? Muslim volunteers with patience and affection began to dialogue. They explained that the mosque is God's home, places of worship, where to prostrate, where humans surrender to the Creator. And they also talked about monotheism, that there is only one God, namely God, that Islam teaches affection, justice, and peace, that anyone who wants to approach Him will God guide and give way. Day after day passed ... More and more residents claimed that the incident touched their minds. They feel God has shown the right path when they are in fear. And finally, thousands of non-Muslims decided to convert to Islam. They say to sentences of the Shahada with a sincere and confident heart, "I don't know why my heart has been calm since I was in the mosque," said one of them. "Maybe it's because it's a place that is blessed, and I am sure this is a true religion. My brother who was blessed by Allah ... From this story, we learn that the disaster is not always a punishment. Sometimes, He is the path to guidance. How many people just discovered Islam when they fell, when they got lost, when the world hit them? And Allah, with His broad grace, opens the door to forgiveness and instructions for anyone who wants to knock. The mosque, which was only a small place of worship for a handful of Muslims, is now the center of dua, the place of study, and a place to grow new hopes for converts who started their new life as Muslims. My best friend, have we ever pondered how many favors God gave us, but we forget to be grateful? How many times God saves us from danger, but we don't realize it? The story in Myanmar teaches us that nothing is impossible for God. If He wants, one mosque can save hundreds of lives. If He wants, one event can bring thousands of people to Islam. So let's take care of our mosque. Keep our prayers, and let us pray for our brothers all over the world, so that they are always given strength and faith. Don't forget, guidance belongs to Allah, but our job is to be a way for others to find it. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.